Let's move to this story now. At least 100 people who have defaulted on payments since 2019 were evicted from Thembelihle Village in Tshwane earlier this week. Thembelihle Village is managed by a non-profit social housing company, Yeast City Housing, which is currently under business rescue. Now, according to an audit, some of the residents do not qualify to live in the building as they earn too much and do not fall within the income brackets of 11,300 and 22,000 rand. Zola Sholwana is there then for us. Zola, this is actually a very complicated one when one thinks about the process itself. So Yeast City itself is actually under business rescue. So the housing then becomes one of the issues that they need to look at in terms of how they fund it. Does it actually make money? But then upon further investigation, the people that live there are then kicked out because they're actually above the bracket of who should be living in that housing. Won't you just clarify that for us?
Well, Arabile, it's quite interesting that on the ground we are getting a different story. So from the community of this complex or this, Thembelihle Village that you see behind me, they're saying they're not earning too much according to what, the social housing company has said, claiming that they earn more than 22,000. Some of them are even saying that, when you are poor in South Africa, then your voice does not matter. So what is happening here is that these community members are saying that they have been paying for their utilities for several years to a certain private company, and they only learned this year that they haven't been paying for utilities, therefore they are being evicted by Yeast Properties. Now, they say that they don't understand how they got to that point because they've been paying money to that particular company, which we will not name at this particular moment until we verify the information that we are receiving from these residents. And they're also saying they haven't had electricity for about 3 years. So for them, they don't understand. It's quite ironic that, Yeast wants them to pay for, their utilities, but they are not receiving those services. But let's hear from one of the community leaders to take us through the eviction that happened earlier this week, where we saw at least 100 people stranded. Some of them are claiming that they lost their belongings due to what happened earlier this week. Mama, thank you very much for your time. Just take us through what led you to this point where we saw at least 100 people being evicted here earlier this week.
Thank you very much. My name is Mary Tati. I'm the secretary of Thembelihle Residents Association. Let me just make correction. People who were evicted here are 204 to 205 members. Our problem started in 2018 when we moved to Thembelihle Village. The struggle started when most of us were given the keys and the lease agreement was signed to come and move in. We moved in. 2 months down the line after moving in, we were told that some of us have got the contract illegally. And we went to tribunal where we won the case, and it was ruled that the people must come and do an interview with those that suspect that have moved in illegal. Then there were also a challenge. When we moved in, we were told that we will be having a prepaid meters, but we did not get prepaid meters. What we got a smart billing. A smart billing was given to us by the leasing company, which had, they were billing us excessively as a social housing dependent. Also, our billing was higher than our rent. So we felt that this is not acceptable. Then we were targeted individually as leadership. Then we formed a leadership where I was a chairperson then, 2018 until about 2020, the COVID time.
There's also allegations from the company that some residents chose to boycott paying rent in 2020. How true is that?
It's not true. We stopped paying rent in 2021. 2022, my apologies. After the company that was billing us, we protested against the billing because we understood later that we are billing at the business rate. You see, there's a business section within, if you go around the building. There are businesses that have leased, and now we are the social housing. The minister came to open this door, to open this building. And there's a sign that shows that we are a social housing. And according to the social housing rule, you are awarded an apartment here if you earn from 3,500 up to a maximum of 22,000. That's the scale. So the people who are living here are living on that basis. So now when they are accusing us of having people earning more than 22,000, we don't know how that came in. Okay, so what happened then, we were to court many times. We still have court orders that are outstanding in Pretoria High Court. And then they took us last year, January 2024.
Unfortunately, ma'am, I'm going to have to cut you short, but we will continue with this conversation later on. Well, Thembelihle, gates are locked at this moment, so all those that were evicted earlier this week are unable to access the premises, and some of them are really coming here to collect their belongings that they left here. And we are told that security has refused to grant them access to the building. So they are left confused as to what is expected to happen then. Why are they not allowed to have access to their belongings at least? And many of them are complaining that they lost so many of their items as, they were outside in the early hours of Monday and Tuesday where they were evicted by Yeast Properties. But of course, we'll continue with the story, find out from the property company as to what really happened. Back to you in studio.
Zola, thank you so much for covering that one then for us. A very interesting story indeed, and really just the plight of trying to understand exactly what is going on then for the residents. Some evicted, some still hanging on. Of course, not knowing exactly what lies ahead here. Zola Sholwana will be on top of this one for us then, and we'll continue to give you updates.